Race down through here, but go for it.
All right, Mr. Shelley is test driving the Jeep.
A World War II Ford GPW contract Jeep, built in Richmond, California, at the Kaiser or the Ford plant, where it's now the Rosie the Riveter Museum. But it's not been out in a while, and it's kind of stuttering and it isn't liking life. So we're going to do an ignition tune-up on it. We're going to get on the road here, and you're going to hear it stutter a little bit. There, third gear. We're all out of gears at 45 miles an hour. Now we're going to try to go up this hill here and see if we can carry the hill without it giving us a whole lot of attitude. Horsepower with a 4-cylinder flathead engine, which means that the valves are in the block, which you guys will get to see plenty of in the next installment. So it actually seems pretty healthy. I was told that it wasn't running steadily, but I put a condenser in it, which might have alleviated all of our problems.
What is a condenser, Mr. Shelley?
It's a part of the distributor that stores up electricity and then shocks it off. I don't know, how would you say it?
Yeah, it's basically there to keep the points from burning up.
Yes.
It's a storage device, it's a capacitor that basically stores electricity, so when the points open and close, it doesn't arc.
Yes.
So with a bad condenser, you'll burn your points up real quick, and then it'll...
And what would you say would be the symptoms of a condenser that is on its way out, or maybe a coil?
It'll just hit the points. Usually it'll burn them.
And it'll start running rough,
yeah.
And then eventually it'll just, the ignition will fail. It'll stutter, and then it'll die, especially when it gets hot.
Yeah.
And then it gets worse and worse until finally it just won't restart. So that's where this lady was, on the side of the road, when we are out on a club outing, and it just decided it didn't want to run anymore.
Yeah.
So we brought it into the shop. I put a condenser in it, and it seems to be running pretty good. So we already bought all the tune-up equipment, and we are going to install all of that right here at Lonnie's Auto Shop. See if we can't make the 60 horsepower really sing on this beast.
Well, the recommendation is anytime you change the contact points, you should also replace your condenser.
That's true.
We will show you what that looks like.
We're going to do full cap, rotor points, spark plug wires, spark plug boots, and hopefully have this thing almost doing a whopping 45 miles an hour down the back stretch, which is its recommended top speed. With 60 horsepower and 488 gears, which is a pretty low gear ratio.
So we're going to go over to the bench, and Mr. Shelley's going to point out some of the components.
Here's our 4-cylinder engine first that we'll be working on. You see, here's our spark plugs. These all look kind of old. Very easy serviceable vehicle because it was meant to be used by the American GIs during World War II and other forces as well all over the world, and be basically, you know, serviced with a rock and a shovel. So luckily we have more than a rock and shovel these days to work on this beast. And we have, look at how the coil was wired over here, and you have just raw wires hanging off the back, and there's some of these guys are getting a little worn after 70 years. Pretty loose A lot of little things that we can clean up to get the maximum out of this little guy. So the nice thing about these Jeeps is you can order anything for them and build a whole Jeep right off the internet. So here we have our rotor, a brand new rotor that of course goes in your brand new cap, right? And it just spins and spins. And
Okay, so again, the purpose of the rotor
is to distribute the spark into these guys, right? Coil goes in,
Yep.
and then this guy spins in that cap, right?
So it goes on here.
Yes.
Goes
and then
across
this little bridge to these guys, and this guy rotates.
So inside, it jumps from the
Let's
center
just do it
tower.
upside down, just so you can see what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And then it goes around.
Yep.
There goes what cylinder? There goes that cylinder.
All right, so it
And there
connects
goes that one. It
each
connects
cylinder.
the circuit to each cylinder and lights off the spark plugs. Of course, we have brand new press-to-light spark plugs. I'm not sure they're pre-gapped, so we'll have to do that just to make sure. Probably not, looking at that one. What do you think, Bill? That's probably not ready for service.
No, it's touching.
Yeah,
So you have to have, do you know what the gap is, or?
I think it's 030.
Okay,
Be
so
wrong.
that's 30 thousandths.
Yeah.
All right, that's like 0 thousandths right now.
Yep. Here is the original culprit and why the Jeep is here. These little condensers go bad. And
So that's underneath the distributor
it's
cap?
underneath the distributor cap, and in this case, you'll see there's another level, a dust cover and oil setup. But it's all right there, and that's going to go get replaced.
Yep.
I always carry, with the old cars, I always carry an extra one of these, and I always carry an extra coil. There's 6 and 12 volt coils, and there's 24 volt coils, whatever system. So when you order an extra one, make sure you get the right one, as with all your parts.
So again, the job of this is to act as a temporary storage device for electricity. It's like a capacitor, and they call it a condenser, but it acts like a capacitor, and it keeps this part.
These are points.
And we'll take a look at what they look like. Basically, a condenser keeps the point contacts from burning because they open rapidly.
So we'll get to it further, but as it goes around, these points open and close the circuit, right?
Right.
And tells it when to build up. It builds up a spark when it's open, right? And then it touches off spark.
It builds when it's closed.
Sorry,
and it
yep.
makes the spark when it opens.
So here's a brand new set of points.
So what happens if you don't have a good condenser? Those contacts there, these little parts right in here where they touch will burn up, especially this side here. You'll get all black.
Which we're going to gamble that when we pull the ones out of this Jeep, that they're going to be burned, and you'll get to see that. So anyway, there's that. These are special little boots that back in World War II, they'd go over the spark plug wires and keep the rain off the spark plugs and the mud for beach landings and things like that, and being out in the cold. They didn't work real well, but we spent valuable rubber resources on these little puppies. So
Okay, so when we return, Mr. Shelley is going to be replacing some of these different components.
yes.